Yeah, this one we'll probably have to go in on this one too a little bit.
Ugh.
Willie Knight landing 8 total significant strikes, 0 to the head. Marcin Prachnio landing 63 leg kicks. I'll let you go first.
I had so many people online telling me, like William Knight was a terrible bet. And yeah, in hindsight, definitely was a terrible bet. But you also don't expect any fighter you bet on to go in there and only what not land a single head strike over a 3-round fight. I know if he went in there and got flatlined, I'd have been so much better with it. Like if he just goes in there and gets knocked out in 10 seconds, I can live with that. But I can't live with having a guy in there just. He was a punching bag, like a literal punching bag all night long. You know those like little mannequin guys that sit there, don't have any arms, and guys beat up in the gyms. Like that's William Knight last night. It took over 60 leg kicks, most leg kicks ever in a 3-round fight, and every single one of them landed. Not every single one of them, but he didn't check any. He didn't. I don't know, man. I'm still chuckling about it. I just can't believe what I saw out of a guy like William Knight, who, you know, if the bell rings and William Knight just runs across the octagon, fucking Prachnio is going to take a step back. You see William Knight running across the octagon to fight you, you're probably going to turtle up against the cage and just hope the ref jumps in. But William Knight just put his chin back in the air, took a few steps back, and said, "Here, kick my legs. I don't feel like being here tonight." Dude, so weird. I've never seen that. I mean, I have seen people not throw punches. Yoel Romero, that fight that everybody dogged on, Carla and Rose, but this was just Prachnio throwing leg kicks, William Knight not throwing anything. I mean, it wasn't even Prachnio throwing combinations or big power punches. It was just leg kicks, and it was William Knight backing up and turning away from him, and getting his leg chewed up. That's all it was. And William Knight had chances to counter. William Knight had chances to just throw an overhand and hope it lands and try to find a knockout, but he didn't. I mean, he was so worried about the leg kicks. I think he was probably in so much pain that he was just sitting in the corner until the fight ended. That's all he was doing. And it was terrible. Awful. He'll probably get cut.
Yeah, I mean, last week we had the Tyson Pedro thing where he was, more than a 2-1 favorite, goes into the fight with an injury or some kind of health issue. And really doesn't look himself. You can tell when you're just watching the fight, like something's off here. But at least he tried. He almost had a submission in round 1. And then after that, I think he was just like, I got no chance here. Loses pretty much all 3 rounds, which is frustrating when a guy goes in there with an injury, but I can accept it. If you need the money or if there's, some reason, if you need to pay your coaches or something like that, that you just go in there and take the loss. It's frustrating, but I can live with it. And then you get this weekend, Willie Knight goes in there and wasn't hurt at all. Didn't go in with any injuries. His last fight was like 8 months ago, and he weighed in at 250 some pounds, cuts all the way down to 205. Looks like he's in the best shape of his life. So he probably put in months of work to get his body right, to get to that fight, to make the weight and get in there in the octagon in great condition, and just refuses to fight. And it was just so frustrating to watch. I just kept thinking, like, when is he going to turn it on? Like, when is he just trying to lure him in and then, then attack him, go to like lure him in and then get a takedown or something. Prachnio was pretty disciplined in staying at kicking range. But he just never went. And I couldn't believe what I was watching because, I get maybe like first round, you go out there and try to feel him out and you don't really get to land anything and you go back to your corner. Your corner tells you, okay, you're going to have to like let it loose here. And his corner was telling him to let it loose. And he just went out there the next 2 rounds after that and did nothing. He just stood there and took kicks. So then I go on TikTok and, give my spiel on it, how this was a pretty suspect fight and everything. And it really looked like Willie Knight didn't try. And it looked like he was purposely not trying. It didn't even look like he faked trying. Like you could go out there and like kind of fake it, move around, not take as much damage or anything. But he was literally just standing there taking shots, not even moving, just back up against the fence. Prachnio was just, bouncing around, chopping away at him. Willie Knight's doing nothing. So yeah, I give my little spiel on TikTok, and then you get the comments of people saying, nah, he's just that bad. Or like, just the leg kicks got to him. Like he just couldn't move anymore. Well, if you watch the fight, he was acting the same way from the start to the finish. It didn't look like he was ever wanted to be in it. It's not even that he was that bad. He just clearly didn't try. And yeah, maybe the leg kicks got to him in round 3 or maybe round 2, but he literally wasn't even trying to get away from the leg kicks. He was just lifting his leg up and taking them. Very frustrating. And then he goes on his Instagram after and gives a little spiel saying that he like froze up, and that the hate is warranted and he's owning it. I'm like, how does that happen? How does that ever happen? Like, I hate to like bash on the guy, but if you go out there and you have a terrible performance, it's one thing to go out there and have a terrible performance. It's another thing to go out there and not try. Like, those are two completely different things. If you go out there and just clearly don't try, or in your case, you say you froze up, I'm sorry, but you deserve to get backlash. Like, you're a professional athlete. You put in months of work, and you're going to say you go into that fight, you go into that cage with no fans around you, and you freeze up for 3 rounds. You go back to your corner. Your coaches are yelling at you in your face to go do something. You say, I got you. He literally said, I got you. I'll go out there and do something. Went out there and didn't do anything. Sorry, but you deserve it. You deserve everything that comes to you. Now, I don't condone, telling him to like off himself or anything like that. That's just stupid. That's pretty, if you ever say anything like that, or even if you just leave him negative comments, like, it's just not even worth your time. But you still deserve to get ridiculed for it because it's a bad performance. If say we have a bad pick or something, I'll own it. I'll own the pick. We have a bad pick. I'll own the pick. But I mean, 3 straight losses for him. Terrible performance. Not even a performance. I can't even call it that. But yeah, it's just, I mean, it's your what? 1, 2, 3, 4. It's a 7th fight in the UFC. You don't just freeze up against Marcin Prachnio. Like, this guy is as low as level as it comes in your division. You were a favorite. It's not even like you're going in there facing some Goliath and the odds are stacked against you. You went in there as a favorite. You're supposed to win this fight. It's a smaller cage. You bench press 500 pounds. You squat like 700 pounds. Like, do something, bro. Do something. That's my spiel.
Yeah. Dude, here's the best like analogy I can think of. Let's say you're playing a basketball game and you get down 10 points and you need to come back and, try to tie the game or go ahead, and you just hold the ball for 4 quarters. You don't even try. You just stall and hold the ball. I mean, that's what it looked like. It looked like he was getting down the scorecards and just wanted to try to ride it out till the end of the fight without trying to do anything offensive. And I mean, it's exactly what he did, I guess. I don't know. I'm still just at a loss. I can't wrap my head around what was going through his head. I mean, there's times we've seen fighters that are clearly losing, but they're fighting and throwing offense, and somehow in their mind they think they're winning, so they coast in the last round. They don't go for a finish. They don't do anything. Like, I can understand some fighters may think I'm up 2 rounds when they're really losing. So I'm just going to coast and try to get this decision. And they come back and lose 30-27. This was, I mean, in nobody's right mind, not in his mind, his corner's mind, anybody across the world. There's not one single person who thought, oh, William Knight's winning this fight. If he just makes it to the 3rd round or to the judges' scorecards, he's going to win. I mean, there was none of that. This is just asinine, dude. I don't know. I can't wrap my head around it. It's crazy. It really is.
Yeah, last thing I'll say is I don't know how they don't, with everything that's been going on within the betting space and UFC fighters and what we saw a couple months ago, I don't know how they don't at least look into this. Like, it took them what, 2 or 3 weeks to like start into the investigation for the Derek Minner thing.
Yeah,
I think you have to look into it in some fashion. Like,
check the bank accounts. Got to.
You got to look into it in some way, because that just doesn't happen. That just clearly does not happen. Yeah, just very weird. But
yeah,
that's it. We'll let Willie off the hook now.